If you're 50 or older, you're at a crossroads. The next 10 to 12 years will absolutely determine, will shape your income, your health, your relationships, and your freedom for all the years after age 62. For a lot of us, we're just going to kind of drift through that decade and hope that things work out. But you know what? Hope is not a retirement plan. Today, I'll show you the 7 choices that decide whether the next 20 years feel secure or stressful. You still have runway left, but that runway is shorter than you think. Most people think retirement is an age, 62, 65, 67, 70. The truth is, retirement is not an age, it's a cash flow number. So let me kind of give you an example, all right? Let's say your monthly expenses, right? You've done a budget, you know, this is how much I need, and your monthly budget, let's call it $5,000 a month. But on the flip side, you're only taking in $4,000 a month. Well, guess what? Regardless of your age, you can't retire because you're not ready. Start with these questions. Will your home be paid off? What will insurance cost? Food, transportation, medical, emergencies, what might those costs be? What isn't included in those somewhat simplistic online budget calculators? When you know your real number, you know what? You stop guessing and you start planning. So Social Security gives you a number, but that number assumes that you'll be working for 12 more years, making the same amount of money or better. If you retire early, if you get fired, if you have to become a caregiver, if you become sick, that number is going to drop, and in some cases drop pretty significantly. Your benefit is based on your highest 35 years of income. If the next 12 years don't match the last 12, your benefit, as I said, will be far lower than the estimate. At 50, you still have time to influence that Social Security estimate, but that window is closing. You know, you can fix a portfolio in 12 years, but you can't fix a body that you've ignored for 12 years. Muscle loss starts in your 50s and accelerates in your 60s and 70s. If you do nothing, you can lose 20 to 40% of your strength over 2 decades. But with 2 or 3 resistance training sessions a week, you slow it down, stop it, or even reverse it. One of the worst retirement mistakes is chasing a 0.25% higher investment return while your medical risks absolutely explode. So build strength now so the 62-year-old you has the strength and the energy to travel, to hike, to chase the grandchildren. You know, an emergency fund is talked about constantly, but so many of us over the age of 50 don't have one that's adequately prepared to face things like a job loss, a significant medical bill, right? A big housing repair. If you pull money from retirement accounts at 50, you don't just lose $10,000. You lose $30,000 to $40,000 after you account for lost growth. This single mistake changes your retirement date. Build the savings now while you still have income. A side gig at 50 gives you freedom at 62. And that's not because you want to work forever. It's because that extra income puts you in control. One small income stream can reduce pressure on Social Security, delay withdrawals, keep your mind sharp, give you meaning and purpose, and protect you if the job market shifts. You know, you don't start a side gig when you're desperate. You start it when things are stable so that when you need it, it's there for you. If you wait until you're retired to build a meaningful bond with your grandchildren, it's too late. It's not going to happen. Kids grow fast. They form friend groups. Their world becomes digital. By 62, They may not be looking to grandparents for connection, but at age 50, you still have the chance to build memories, stories, rituals, and trust. This isn't just emotional, it's legacy. Your influence is strongest when they're young, not when they're older. This is the section that most people skip, and yet this is the one that protects the next 20 years. It's a retirement stress test. A retirement stress test asks, what breaks first? Job loss, market downturn, maybe a disability, becoming a caregiver, your own long-term care needs, the death of a spouse, adult children needing support, or just the shock of inflation. These are uncomfortable questions, but if you face them at 50, you still have time to build safety around every single one. Inside this stress test, review your HR benefits, check pensions, vesting dates, 401k match, survivor benefits, insurance options. It's much better to feel uncomfortable today than trapped at age 62. Look, you're not out of time, but the window is getting tighter and tighter and tighter with every passing day. These 7 moves aren't just tips. They're the levers that decide whether your next 20 years feels secure or uncertain. So choose one step today, just one. Check your Social Security estimate. Start a workout routine. Call your grandchild. Run a stress test. Build your emergency fund. Find a side income. Calculate your retirement number. Small actions at 50 build freedom at age 62. And that freedom is absolutely worth fighting for.